Good afternoon, good evening. Turn on the mic. There we go. Welcome everyone to another episode of Whip Finish Wednesday. Katie and I are really excited, and Misha heard me talking, so our German Shepherd just opened the door herself and is coming over here to say hello to everyone because she's like the big Instagram, YouTube star over here. She just wants to make sure she's in the middle of all the attention, aren't you? Well, it's good to see everyone. We have had a busy past week or so since last time we saw you. What's up, Bill? Tom Fly? Ray, good to see you. Jason, Al Kenton, and Ken B. Wonderful to see you. Katie and I spent the weekend at the Denver Fly Fishing Show. We've got a few things to share with you about that. And today, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning and went muskie fishing with the one and only Matt Riley, who, if you were ever within about 500 miles of here, I would highly suggest that you get a hold of Matt Riley and do a little muskie fishing. It was the most fun I've ever had not catching a fish. When we first started, we decided that the consensus was it would be very rare if we didn't even move a fish, didn't even see a fish. So I consider myself lucky that I was able to go out and fish all day long and not move or see one fish. The weather was absolutely fantastic. It got up to almost 70. I was in this t-shirt and yeah, it was something. What's up, Jeff Rowley, Mike Seymour? Oh, you ice fished for Tiger Muskie all weekend, didn't you? Either. What's up, Chris? Denver Show was a blast for sure. What's up, Troy and Trout? Missed you. Yeah, there's been a bunch of people that messaged us that they're like, oh, I was at the Denver Show. Sorry, missed you. There's those things can get so crazy and wild, and you get so distracted. There have been shows that Kate and I've been to that I think we've taken like 3 pictures. We just get so tied up talking to everyone. But before we get too into the weeds, I did want to show you a non-fly tying, non-fly fishing branded related thing that is a must-have if you ever go streamer fishing. And what's up, Wes, Bill, Brashears? It is awesome seeing you. So I am not the best, and when I say I'm not the best, I might be the worst streamer fisherman. It's possible. I've given it my college effort, or my, how do you say it, my streamer finger rod. See, there you go, Steve. That's what I was getting ready to say. I've given it my best effort, but if we'll switch over to the vise here, I'll take the thing out. Okay, so this is my finger. I haven't taken it off. This is all day long. This is what my finger has been wearing, and this is not a fly fishing branded thing. But you get these little like stripping guards, you get whatever, and unless you like streamer fish a bunch, it takes a while to develop that callus. And we were fishing with Kelly Gallup's people, and I was literally bleeding all down my hand from doing this, and I've been looking to find the right thing. And these Curad, I believe, I'll open this one up for you just for the sake of it. Just show you what they are. They come in all these fancy colors. But see how like the Band-Aid, it's just a Band-Aid, it's all it is. But the pad on the Band-Aid here is just right here, but it's really long. So I want to wait to take it off so this is all day throwing a 12 weight, double-handed, 10-foot rod with like super heavy sink tip line. So this is what my finger looks like, and it's totally fine. No big deal. But you see how the Band-Aid itself is just like here, but you've got all the extra strip. So if you can find that you can go on Amazon, I'm sure, but this Curad thing, they work really well. You just put them on, wrap them around, and you're good to go. So if my hands are shaking or anything while I'm tying tonight, it is because they've been a bit punished today. This will be a fun night. We sell those at work, marketed as extra long bandage. There you go. So, I mean, you can buy the from fly fishing companies the stripping guards and stuff, and they work fine. You can buy the gloves and everything; they work fine. But that little band-aid here, where it's like an athletic, like kind of stretches a little bit, and it's waterproof. So, I mean, I promise you, my hand was wet as heck all day, and it didn't come off till I just not peeled it off. And I was kind of planning on putting probably two on, like maybe at lunch or so, it would come off. But if you're like me and you don't streamer fish every day, then I would definitely invest. Oh, you're on me. Definitely invest in some of these. But anyway, yes, Misha is she's sniffing around. Hopefully she'll knock a camera over, so um, that'll make it really funny. So trout addict. You sell those and you market it as, I can't think of the name. I can't see it now. All right. So with that said, we've got a busy day planned, the busy night planned. Katie has a bunch of pictures to show in a little bit, and we're going to tie Charlie Craven's GTH variant, which let me throw it back in the vise here to show you. I'm going to tie, hopefully I'll get two of them tied. I'll tie this green one, and then we'll tie a nice red one. This is an attractor pattern. This is a size 14. This is an attractor pattern that if you're looking for a little bit slimmer profile, should work really well, floats nicely. No big deal. But the calf hair, this is calf body hair, not calf tail. It can be a little bit tricky to work with, so we'll try to go over a few tricks on that. But all in all, it's a pretty straightforward pattern. I think Charlie says that he ties it in size 12 or 10 to size 18. For me, I think up in the Great Smoky Mountains, this would be good in size 14. But tie it whatever size that you would like. And then Jeff is correct. The purple one probably would not hurt at all. So, as always, ask questions. Let's have a good night. Let's have fun. And I was going to show pictures from our trip. And trust me, if we had a big muskie, I would definitely show pictures. But unless you all really want to see pictures of our lunch and of the boat, I will probably post pictures of some of the flies that we threw. But they were 14 inches or so. They were giant. But anyway, let's get going. Is that good, Katie?
Yeah.
Anything else? Am I missing anything?
No.
I did, since I'm tying dry flies, I did find a few good stickers at the show. It's not a crime. And I love nipping. So we're going to tie a dry fly just because of that. But I do actually have one little product I'll show that I did pick up at the show. So I'm going to tie it on a regular old Tiemco 100. First fly, just can't wait. Cool already. So size 14 Tiemco 100. So use just a regular old dry fly hook. I don't want to be fancy by any means. But I did pick up one fly tying tool while I was there. It was pretty interesting. So you see me tie with I love hair stackers. Sorry, it's a problem of mine. I've got way too many hair stackers, but this is one you see me use before. And this is a nice small one. It's as far as this is one I like to use a lot, which is this little Rinsetti double. If you were going to get one hair stacker and you're tying stuff like I tie, this is a good one. This double-ended midge stacker because it has two in one. And this tube is about the same size. Like this is a standard tube or standard midge tube in this Umpqua one. But while I was at the Umpqua booth, they had an even smaller one. This little tiny guy. And that thing is, here's my bodkin, and it's really small. So That's my one addition to my fly tying collection is this teeny tiny um, little hair stacker. And Bill, uh, recommendations if you don't have calf body hair uh, or tail, you could use just a synthetic like polyyarn would be okay. What's up, Dan? And we ran into Dan, hung out with him on Friday and on Sunday. So it's good to see you hopping on here live with us this evening, and it was awesome finally meeting you in person. Um, so yeah, I would say if you had some bleached deer hair, that'd be nice. But realistically, um, probably the easiest thing is to use polyard, like you're going to do a parachute post. You run a dryer sheet through the tube of new hair stackers, or am I the only weirdo who has done that? I doubt you're the only weirdo that's done that, but I would say I've never run a dryer sheet through it. And I used it at the show on the calf body hair, and it worked fine.
So would that just like keep it from like sticking?
Yeah, that should limit stack electricity in the hair stacker, so it would make it slides better. Probably
Dryer sheets are multi-purpose little doodads.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like polypropylene yarn, or you could use what we talked about the other day, which is if you've bought a skein of the bonnie braid and you got it in white, you've got like enough to oh, come on, guys, help me out here. You've got enough to tie like 5 billion of these flies. All right, so one of the complicated things about this fly is we're going to use 3 different thread colors. We're going to use white, we're going to use black, and we're going to use the color, whatever color body you want. So the first one we're going to do is going to be fluorescent green. And then assuming we have time, assuming that yours truly doesn't talk all night, we're going to use fluorescent bright red as our 2 colors. So it's nice if you, we can't get the proper body braid here for pair posts. Where are you located? What's NL? Trout Addict NL. Sergeant Bass Fisher. What's up, Joe? All right. Okay, so they've got it on Amazon. I don't know why I can't get body braid there. That's odd. Anyway, okay, so we're going to get started here, and my glasses are filthy. So we'll spend a second and clean these off real quick. So what we need is some calf body hair, or like we were saying, polyyarn, or some sort of nice little wing and tailing material. Some hackle and some thread. That's about it. So let's switch over here and we'll start tying. So the way Charlie starts his flies, he starts it right here, and he works his thread back, and that's great. And quick disclaimer: I have not watched the YouTube video on how to tie this fly that Charlie does. I do have the book. That if you remind me, I'll show you in a second, and that's what I looked at for reference on this fly. So the way I like to do when I'm tying flies like this is I'll start my thread right where I want the wing to come up. So we'll bring it back here, and we got our thread hanging down right there. So you see I've got that roughly the quarter or so distance to the eye, and that's where we're going to get, just leave enough room for a couple turns of hackle and a head on your fly, so for you to whip pinch it. So let's get the band-aids out of the way. Calf body hair. So here is my very kind of junky looking piece here. What's up, Chris? Long time no see. And Nan and Truman. It's about time you fellas and fellettes hopped on here. I saw that CC was old fashioned 707 photos on his site. Yeah, I didn't know we went to Charlie's Fly Box after the show was over, and I asked Charlie. He was in Idaho during the show, so we weren't able to see him. And I asked him, I said, "Is there a video?" And of course, he pulled it right up on his phone and said, "Sure, there sure is." Idiot. I'm like, well, yep. All right, so I'm gonna pull a chunk off here. See how I've got it right there. Pitch it together, grab it about, I've got about a quarter to a third of it in my hands. And I'm gonna twist it just like deer hair. Twist it, kind of open up a little bit. And then we'll try to brush it out. Usually do this over over my little waste basket. And this is not, unlike deer hair, this is not pulling out under fur or fluff. It's just pulling out the short fibers. And you can use Velcro. That the side that's got your Velcro on it, that'll work nicely. And then you end up with your nice little stack. So here's where having multiple hair stackers comes in handy. We'll start with I like starting with a bigger stacker. We'll start stacking it away. And here in a minute, after I finish with this first fly, Katie has some really good pictures of your rainbow warriors that were submitted. And if you do attempt this fly, make sure you either tag us in the photo on Instagram or email it to us at demuthflyfishing@gmail.com. So you see how I switched hair stackers? It's just getting a nice little final stack on it. So let's switch over. It's perfect. We can switch over to see how those are nice and lined up. That's what we're looking for. So pull this out, set it there. And we're looking for, and I don't like how that's not straight. So it never hurts to redo it. Am I missing the comments, Katie, or is everyone just watching in awe?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, they are.
Good. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So we've got our little bundle here, and we're going to try to make it roughly, let's get it just right, roughly hook shank. And I like going just a shade longer than hook shank. So I'll put my measurement there, do a loose wrap, pull it tight. Yeah, it's a little long, so bring it back just a little bit, pull it tight, start working my thread back. And I'm pulling it pretty tight as I wrap back. Now I keep a good pinch of my bundle here. Take my scissors, and I'm gonna cut this at an angle. And that was way too shallow of an angle. Blame it on the musky fishing. But at least I didn't cut my thread. It's always a plus. In here, come on, John. Good, that'll work. So I'm gonna take my fingers again and kind of pull this up and work my thread back. I'm pulling these pretty tight. So normally I'll cut it quite that shallow, so the taper starts a little bit higher up and goes down, but we will totally make it work. So the next material is going to be some medium size or the 1/32 of an inch Mirage tinsel. Pull a little piece off. I literally at 8:30 when I walked in, I just started pulling stuff out of my travel bag. We'll take this and we'll put one little wrap right here, get on top, and we'll pull it to length. Now I'm just going to wrap it around about, maybe not quite to halfway. But this is the same stuff, but a bigger size than what I tie the Rainbow Warriors in. I go back up. just like this. Capture one wrap, get 3 in there. Cut it off. Okay, am I missing? Are people commenting?
It's
I don't see
do you not?
No, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
you.
I don't see
If you can hand me the thing, I'll.
I can restart it. I can restart it because I'm sure I'm the only one. Okay. So now we've got a nice little tag in there. You can see that's a little shiny. So that's perfect. So now we want to go with another piece of calf body here. It's about 1/3 the size. And I was talking to Charlie about this at the shop, and I'm like, I like to go a little bit smaller than 1/3, but he was fine with it. He looked at them, and there was one of the ones I tied that show. I showed him to him, and he said there was one that had wings that were a touch on the short side. But other than that, they look good. So I was happy that he said that. All right, we'll throw this in the big hair stacker. And this, when I say big, it's probably more like a normal size hair stacker. I'll throw in the extra small. So you see we got a nice little stack that's ready to go. I did not pull it out correctly, so let's redo that. I did pull out wrong twice, or 2 ways. One, it was kind of not lined up right, and I didn't pull out the way I was going to put it into the fly. So it's a little bit thick, so I'll take some of it out. That's better. All right, now we'll stick it on the hook shank. So I'm going for the kind of the same length as the wings. So I've got it right there. We'll switch over to the vise. Please. Right back. And I'll wrap over it. Once we get in there nicely, pull this up. What we're going for is a nice transition between the two. What's up, Todd? First comment I've seen in a while that finally came back up. Can't believe your time flies against us soon after the show. Yeah. Trust me, if you knew the day that I had, you'd be really excited, really proud of me for breaking my thread as I'm tying. So if you wrap your thread around your bobbin, that's usually not too impressive. So we'll just redo it. It wouldn't be a good whip finish Wednesday if I didn't break my thread one time. Todd, you missed my stripper guard demonstration earlier. So tie that down, pull this up. Cut that out. Now we're talking. We get all that tied in nice and tight.
Right, now you're getting a bunch of comments.
Okay, now here we go. Everyone's hey, and hey. Yeah, so who is going to the Gulf Shore Show? It's going to be the beginning of May. That'll be a fun one. Okay, so on this step, before I start talking about shows too much, on this step, I'm just going to grab my thumb and my pointer finger, pull this all the way back, just like that. And I'm going to go in front of the wing, go to the hook eye, bring it back. Put some wraps there to really try to build a little bit of a thread dam. Now we'll go forward and back. Same thing. And one more. It's not going to get it absolutely perfectly straight up and down, but it's going to get us started. So there we go. So we're not perfect. Now we take our thumbnail and we push back. And when I push back, if you look right there, see how it kind of splits in the middle? Kind of. I'm going to grab a bunch of that and try to separate it. And we'll just kind of look, and all you can see is hands right now. I'm sorry. Just kind of the nature of the beast here. I'm going to take my thread and go from back to front 3 times. You see now I've kind of got it split a little bit. There you go. You can see how it's split. I'm going to go over, pull it back over, and go front to back 3 more times on the other side. That might have been 4 times. So you see we got a nice little split. What's up, Freddy's Flies? It's been a long time since you've been on here. How about Daddy's Flies? Is anyone close to Daddy's Flies over in New York? The state, not the city. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to post these up. So what I did is I took my thread that's behind the wings, kind of grabbed them, and I'm going to go up. I'm going to try to move my hands out of the way so you can see. But I've got to grab it every now and then. You'll be able to see better on the other side. And I'm just basically like doing a parachute post. That one came undone, so I've got 3 or 4 wraps. And I'll take this one. See how it's kind of standing it up? If I go, not like that, go back down. So I'm kind of standing that the one that's on the bottom of your screen up. Now I'll bring my thread down and around. I'll do the exact same thing on this top one. So did anyone say anything about Daddy's Flies? Is anyone close to New York? For people who Alabama might be a little bit of a drive for?
No, not yet.
All right, so now I can pull this one, so I can pull it back, and I bring it around. So now I've got my wings separated nicely. They're going up kind of at the right angle, maybe a little bit down a little bit, but I can manipulate them all I want to. So I'll be going to days in April. Ooh, Ed's going to be in April. That'd be nice. Well, Katie and I were asked to go and tie at Daddy's Flies in May, and we'd love for any of you guys to come over and visit us. Joe, I talked to you at the show about it, and it's going to be in May. So we haven't decided on the exact date yet. So I'm trying to watch the kids' schedule. Okay, so now what I want to do is I've got 2 kind of parachute posts here. I'm going to post up the tail. So take it like this, bring my thread under, bring it around, make sure it's all the way up underneath that, and bring it just around the tail. Didn't work. So that's 1. And 2. Just kind of see how that raised it up a bit and bunched it up there on top of the hook shank. That's what we're wanting. Now we'll do big wraps, and we're going to wet finish our white thread. Kelly Mardini for dates, please. Hello, Nan. Thank you, Jeff, for telling everyone hello. Sometimes either because I'm lazy or sometimes I just don't see the comments. So appreciate that. Throw a quick little wet finish here. And now we're going to move to our colored thread. Jason, if you're in upstate New York, close to, I believe it's in Roscoe, you got to come over and say hello, and we're going to go fishing. But and anyone's welcome. It's not our hometown, so we don't know anything about the fishing other than what we've read. But we will definitely be at their shop tying for a bit. All right, so we've got our green tied in. What we're going to do is we're going to flatten our thread, just by twisting it. I think we're about Oh, we're not 13 hours away. We're definitely a bit more than you. So I'm just trying to build up a little bit of a taper. I still want to. Everyone know how to flatten the thread? Thank you, Jeff. It is your job, and you're doing a good job. You'll get extra pay tonight, maybe more than last time. So I'm just trying to get a nice green coverage. I'll continue on my taper. And you're not trying to get like a big taper by any means. And right where I'm wrapping now, I'm going to put dubbing anyway, so I'm not super worried on that. So we got a nice, somewhat of a taper anyway. Well, Jason, you have to just stay in touch with us, and I don't know what they're going to want us to tie, but we'll be there tying something. I'm assuming it will be more of a traditional Catskill style fly. That's my guess. With the fly fish. Okay, go Nan. Use them while you're there. You know what? We were asked years ago. It's probably like years ago. Been 5 or 6 years ago. We submitted a few flies where they wanted to get some of our flies to put in the museum, which is kind of cool. All right, so now we're back to black thread. Remember I said there'd be 3 different colors of thread. So now let's switch back to the big camera because I forgot to get dubbing out. Here's my travel bag. Hopefully I'll be able to find the dubbing somewhat quickly. Promise it's here somewhere. If not, then hey, this will be a really quick show.
This might be a good time for me to share some pictures.
Okay, you show some pictures. Knock it out.
All right, we had quite a few this week. So I'm going to start with Dave Hall and Dr. J. Stevenson, Jay Wilson. These rainbow warriors that we tied last week, 2 weeks ago. Ken B's rainbow warriors in multicolor. OG flies. MD trout bum. We had 3 pictures here. I like how they're sitting up like that. Looks cool. And Bill Adams. Barry. I had 2 from Barry, I think. Yep. Very colorful. Very rainbowy. Yes. Thanks, guys, so much for sharing your pictures. I really enjoy looking at them.
And how do they get pictures to us?
Well, all you have to do is tag the photo on Instagram, Demuth Fly Fishing, or you can email it to us at demuthflyfishing@gmail.com.
Okay, well.
Great. Yes, great flies, everybody. Love them.
Yeah, it's a quiet place on the old tying front. Okay, well, we'll just use a different kind of dubbing.
Okay. MK Fly said she posted one.
Oh.
I missed that one.
Is it on the Insta Twitter?
I don't know. It wasn't earlier today.
Let's see. Tag. I'm looking at Ken B.
I did.
And Jay Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Hall.
Mm-hmm.
OG Flies.
Mm-hmm.
MD Trout Bomb.
Yep.
Dr. J. Stevenson, MK Fly Girl. Well, that was the last one we got was from her was the stimulator.
Right.
So I don't have a Rainbow Warrior from MK Fly Girl. I see a Rainbow Warrior anyway from her.
Yeah, I know we shared one of hers last week that was a stimulator, or the week before last.
Okay, so I cannot find the dubbing I was using.
I'll have to search for it, but I'll find it.
I'm sure it's sitting right here in front of me, but we're going to use Peacock, regular old Peacock ice dub. So what I'm going to do is tie a very thin noodle with Peacock ice dub. See, it's good that I've got all sorts of options for my dubbing. Otherwise, if I just had the one, we'd be stuck. I've got about a 2-inch noodle that's very, very slim on my thread. And I was using Silverfly 12-aught classic wax thread on the other fly, on the rest of the thread. This is 18-aught. So as you can see, we'll switch over to the hook. As you can see, I've got a little dubbing ball there. It doesn't need to be huge. It could be a little bit bigger than that, but for now, we'll call it good. And I'm going to take 2 hackle fiber feathers here. I'm just going to strip off one. See, Dan, you see the Rainbow Warrior on Instagram? I'm trying to not share it. Just unlooked.
I don't see it. I mean,
It might be.
It wasn't tagged, so I don't know.
Yeah. So it's important that you tag us in the photo so we can go through and just look at like all the photos that we were tagged in. Makes it a little easier for us to find the photos anyway. Okay, so we've got the 2 fibers stripped off here. We'll stack them up, 2 feathers stripped off. We'll stack them up on top of each other going the correct way. And we'll hold an angle here and tie it in. Touching wraps. And actually, usually I've got to cut the stems. I don't have to in this case because it's going just fine. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do a very important part, but I guess we'll just skip on this thing. So once you cut off your colored thread, you want to take Sally Hansen's and coat the whole body and the underside of the wings. So the posts, you get a little bit of Sally Hansen's on them. And it'll solidify them and give your body a little bit of extra oomph. And I forgot to do that. So I didn't get that done. Yes, Rainbow Warrior, if you're going to see it. Well, I'll look at it, but when we're looking, if you go to our profile, I'll show you on my phone. Let's switch over to the side here, and I'll explain why it's nice to tag us in it. So if I go to our profile here, there we go, and we click this button here, this shows all the posts that were tagged, like that we were tagged in. So what we do is we go through and we find here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many, the ones that we were tagged in. Otherwise, it's really difficult. And you can email them to us as well to themoonflyfishing@gmail.com. We can put those in like a little folder. But if they're tagged here, and this is tagging the photo, not just putting us in the comments, but tagging the photo, it'll show up on this page, on our page. So like this is our home page, and this is this is the accounts that tagged us in something. And as you can see, there's a lot of fly fishing show stuff, but usually there's not all the fly fishing show stuff. So we can go through and find them here. And unfortunately, the good thing is there are a lot of you all that are sending us photos. That's great, but it does become a bit of a we hate missing people, and it makes it easy for us to see them all if we are tagged in the photo. If that makes sense. Hopefully, that makes sense, guys. All right, so let's get back to the fly here. So one of the things, if you'll switch over to the hook, see, there you go. Go, yes, go MK Fly Girl. We will, we'll give you a like on it. And I'm sure it's wonderful. Let's just for the fun of it, while we're doing it, because MK Fly. Oh shoot! MK Fly Rods Girl. Here we go. So now you can see here's MK Fly Girl's Rainbow Warrior that she did right here on my phone. So good job, MK Fly Girl. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, so we've got our 2 hackle feathers tied in. Now, a lot of people are intimidated by this. There's 2 ways to do the brown and grizzly. One is to wrap one fiber, tie it off, and then another fiber. But typically what I like to do is get them lined up the correct way and keep your fingers kind of close to the fly. Like I don't want them way out here because we want to keep the stems lined up side by side. We put one wrap here, and you can tell I don't exactly have a very good, I'm not all the way back super tight to the dummy ball. So if that happens, you can unwrap some, but take your thread and make it the way you want it. All right, so we'll bring it straight down, straight up. I'll move it over just a pinch, straight down, straight up. We'll jam this one in there. It says 3 wraps. If you only get 2 wraps, that's fine. I'm going to do 2 wraps here. 1, 2. And if you get to this point, you're like, I might not have enough room to finish it. Go ahead and you can quick finish it, or you can finish it off with the hackles on the bottom. You don't want to crowd the hook eye on this. So I put 2 or 3 wraps behind the hackle and a couple wraps in front of it, so I can flip it up here, grab my scissors, get deep down in here, cut it off. There's one more that's a little straggler here. And then we'll bring my thread back. And then we'll find a quick finisher tool somewhere.
Hi, Bear. If you can hear me, I'm saying hi back. I was waiting for John to stop talking.
Have you ever had my thread break like that? It literally broke on the whip finisher. Hey, 2 thread breaks and 1 fly, that could be a record. Bring it back. Don't worry if you break your thread, as long as your knot's good. You overlap your thread wraps. It's fine. Try that again. Whip finisher tool. There we go. Mucho bettero. And if you get a straggler here, you can pull tweezers out, grab it, pull it off. However you want to do it. And that's pretty much done. Not the prettiest, not the cleanest, but when I finish it up, I put it in an angle here. I take some head cement, put a drop right there, bring it around, put it underneath, kind of not worried about getting all in the hackle. Even like for Instagram photos, this is how I do it, because that Sally Hansen's will just absorb in. That Sally Hansen's will absorb in. And,
Misha, it's okay.
And be fine. And hopefully you've got a spare piece of wire like this sitting around. Misha, it's probably a cat, or it's too late for strollers to be outside, but it'd be a cat on the front door set. So there we go. So here's our completed fly that will work just fine. It's not the prettiest in the world, but it will do the job. So do we have time for one more quick one? I think we might, if if I go quick, it will. So change the colors up of the thread, change the colors up of the dubbing. And as people were asking at the very beginning, what if you don't have calf tail? You can use Parapost, poly yarn, whatever you want. So this is the same size 14 Tiemco 100. Going to start it right where I want the wing coming up. Bring it down. Got a straggler piece of thread already. Bring it up. Show how this is not like a super long tie. Take your, when you get to the very last of your calf body here, it is a bit difficult to get the right amount. These might be a little bit thin, but we'll strip these out in the trash can. Get some fun going wild. Color is this one going to be? This one's going to be red. Do fluorescent red on this one. So I've got a handful of greens already. So we'll try red. Get my hair stacker here. Rough stack it. Now we'll pull out the smaller one. And I would use my new Uncle one, but it is a bit too small for this. This is the Uncle one would be good for tails and for really small work. Okay. So you can see right here on the hook, that quicken, we've got a nice little, switch over the hook, please. A nice little stack here. Pull it out. And look at how much we need. Let's say about that much. Now we got a little more. This is like, we're going to go a little quicker. See if I can not mess the cut up here. That was a little bit better than last time. Trim off any stragglers. Bring the thread back. Make sure that's nice and up on the top of the hook shank. Looking good. Pull our, oh, I didn't use my vice pawn, so now I can't find my tinsel.
Uh-oh.
Below, don't see it. Hey, you guys are paying good money for this, so we'll pull off a new piece of tinsel. People like give me a hard time, like, man, that must take you forever to tie that fly. I'm like, yeah, but if I tie like half a dozen of them, they'll last me quite a while. It's like I'm trying to sell them or anything. And they don't take near as long as you think they do to tie if you have all your stuff laying out. That one piece of hair is what about? So just bring it down. We overlapping a little bit. But we're going to overlap them on the way back up. Just like this. One more. 1, 2, and 3. Any questions on that part? Okay, I'm not seeing comments again. Is that okay?
Yeah. I don't know why they're not showing up. The questions that I'm seeing are ones that were asked, like, what color is this one going to be?
Okay. Pull this back up. Just for the fun of it. Have you all noticed there's no commercials today? Isn't that nice? No commercials and unfortunately no membership, so we can't go do our normal thing. So I'm cutting off another small piece. And if you're in a rush, let's switch over to the side. If you're in a rush and you cut a piece off here, you can just take it, spread it out, and what I'm doing is just kind of flicking it in my trash can. Just take my big hair stacker. And the big hair stacker just kind of roughly stacks it. Keeps it, kind of separates all the fibers. And I use the smaller one to get it a little bit better. Let's see. Is it okay? And if you don't have brown and grizzly, probably the most time consuming part is measuring your hackle so you have the right right length hackle. But if you don't have brown and grizzly, if you just have whatever color, just use that color. It's fine. Don't. I mean, it'd be best if you had brown and grizzly. If you don't let that stop you from trying to tie something.
Did you get the question about the wing dimensions?
The wing dimension, the wing and the tail. Oh, there you go. I'm talking about wing dimension. Instead of keeping the same thickness of hair. So that's definitely an issue is the thickness of hair. Are you having a problem with the length or the thickness? So it is kind of two different things. The thickness of it, really, it will change on the patch of calf body hair you're using. So some of them, like you need a small pinch, some of them you need a bigger pinch. But as far as Charlie Craven's book, I've got that nice and lifted up there. The tail, thickness wise, should be a third the thickness of your wing. Because if you think about it, if that's a third, you want this smaller than one individual wing. So if it was half the thickness, it'd be the same. So a third is going to be a little bit smaller. So once I've split these, your tail should be smaller, a little bit smaller than the wing. And getting the length. So the length should be, Charlie says the hook shank. So that's from where the bend stops right here to the very point of the eye. I kind of like doing the whole shank, including the eye, for my wing, and I try to make my tail the same length. So maybe a touch longer, but it'll probably have more to do with your hackle on what if your hackle's kind of short, then your wings are a little bit short. If your hackle's really long, then your wings are a little bit long. So let's pull this back up. I'll have my wing to the hook length. Yep. Now, is that the whole hook length, including the bend, or is that hook shank, or what do you mean, Steve? Because on Catskill style flies, I typically agree you want the wing to be the entire hook. On this one, a little bit smaller is somewhat appropriate, I think. But yeah, that's the fun part about doing these, like about tying yourself. Just tie like whatever you think, everything's going to look the best. That's the way to do it. Yeah, so that's exactly what I was saying. Shank and eye on this one is what I like. So remember, we're going to take our fingernail, kind of do this and spread it to get a rough split. And we'll just take it, kind of feel it, go back and forth with it, and see roughly what halfway is. So now, if you can get where you can see it, go back to front, 1, 2, 3, and that's what it looks like here. Now I'll bring my thread back to this side, pull this around, if I can get you to see it, and go 1, 2, 3. See how it looks? And that's kind of what I'm saying, Steve. If when you're done tying the fly, if you're like, man, this looks great, that's how long you need to make it. If you're like, well, and that's the way I do it. I'm when I'm done tying, like, man, it needs to be longer, it needs to be shorter, it needs to be whatever. It's never right, or it's rarely right the first time. I just kind of learn how long do I need to make it. Like I said, my Catskill style flies typically are have a little bit longer wings because my hackle's longer. So I'm just going around doing a very bad job posting these up. See, that's like 4 wraps I've done that keep coming undone. If you'll grab the hackle or grab the wing, and then pull tight, and then loose wrap, grab, pull tight, loose wrap, grab, pull tight, and then work your way down. Now I can bring it back. So, and this is kind of an important part about this step here. So when I take my thread, I'm going to do this once. So I bring my thread over this. So everyone pay attention. This is important. So kind of flatten it out a little bit. But pretend like I haven't posted these because now I can show you. Take my thread over. I've just separated them, and I do a post, and I go around a few times, and now I can pull my thread back towards me and stand that up. See how I'm pulling that? See how it's moving a little bit? I can pull that and stand it up and do a wrap underneath, and now my thread's going backwards. It's going the wrong way. But now I can go to the other side and do the same thing, post it up and everything, and then I can, without pulling it out, and then I can pull it tight so it stands it up, and then have my thread going the correct way. Although I just kind of messed them up. That's how you can split them and stand them up without having to do all the standing up on your with your thread down. Does it all make sense? So the first post that's farthest away from you will be when you're done, your thread will be going the wrong way. And the second post, when you're done, that will straighten your thread out so it's going the right way. So now let's switch over to the side here. I'm taking out my fluorescent green. I'm going to put in fluorescent bright red. Do you have a first fly jar? And for the first worst looking fly, it's sad motive to keep tying after a fly. Yeah, yes, I do. Sometimes you see them. But yeah, I've got tons of. If you can see my desk, there's tons of flies over here that I've just kind of been playing around with and trying to figure out how to make it work just right. All right, switch back over to the vise. All right, so we got a red thread. We'll bring it down. I left that spot there on purpose. So now we'll get all the way back. So you want to use white thread initially because like when I post up this wing, the tail, and I'm posting the wings, you don't see that white thread showing up as much.
I think your whip finisher might have a.
I want to use my whip finisher on that.
Oh.
This is it's fish first line ponds. That's good idea. What's funny is I've broken thread on my. What you know what? We'll chalk it up to I've been throwing 12 weight all day long. All right, so this will be interesting.
Okay.
So looks like a mess. I pull this down tight. So I pull my thread tight and grab my new thread and wrap it back. And I'm capturing the whole thread. Just like this. Pull it up. Cut it. And see how it's nice and smooth. It's good to go. Yeah, it's because I've been pulling them giant flies in all day. I'm just so decent right now. I'm like just so strong. So all I'm doing is building taper, making sure that color is showing through. Look at the camera, make sure it looks good. Not too worried about right by the wings. I'm gonna cover that up with some peacock black this time. And for the trip up, let's try to flatten out just a bit. Well, how these are whipped.
She's like, who doesn't? I don't like the tools. I just like to do it with my fingers when they work.
saw Joe doing a little class at the show on hand whip finishing that was enlightening for many people. He does a hand whip finish different than I've seen. So, and I couldn't. If you asked me right now to show you how Joe was doing it, I wouldn't be able to do it.
He is. He's like the kid who's like doing the cat's cradle and like telling you to put your hand in there. And remember that guy?
All right, so I'm probably gonna mess this up big time, but this is what I forgot last time. I wish I show you the right way. So we're gonna put Sally Hansen on this all the way to the back, get a nice little covering on here. Now we'll put the needle back in the applicator. Shoot.
Yes, Nan. There's a few.
So you see how the
And I'm, in my opinion, is it's just another thing to like not be able to find or like gets tangled up somewhere.
just write that down by that and up here. It's nice and up on the post here. And is that looks kind of crummy right now? This is where I'm gonna mess it up. So I'm gonna go and put dubbing and I'm gonna tie it the rest of the way on. When this is done, here's one that I tied earlier. It'll look like this. Like that, it'll soak in. It'll make it really strong. And here's the other red one. So this one has the exact same thing done to it. As you can see, it's just a little shiny. It's no big deal. Just put it on there. But you do want to like get to this point, tie one more, and then you can pull this out and let it and tie it. So you don't want to do what I'm getting ready to do, and that's go and tie on top of this wet head cement, aka Sally Hansen's. If I don't break my thread, we'll be okay. All right. So we'll get our peacock black. Maybe. And let's just, on the other one, I use regular peacock. This time we use peacock black. Use whatever color you think will pop best for you. I did what I tell you not to do, and I put too much on at one time, so I'm stretching it out and twisting it nicely. We'll work this back. And really what I'm looking for is I want that to come up. I'm sorry. Oh, please switch up the please. When I want it to come up and I want to leave enough room for a turn or two of hackle in between the ball and the wings. I'm trying to stick my scissors in the Sally Hansen's. So now we'll pull out the same, so it's the same size and all proportions are the same, hopefully, the same hackle that we had out earlier. Strip it off. Do the same with the grizzly. Put them together, make sure that the fibers are lined up right. So I'm going to tie them in, switch back over to the hook. Please, I'm gonna get a good wrap or two. I'm gonna get 3 wraps behind. So line it up just right. Make sure that's going back towards that dubbing ball. Go forward. That's twice I haven't had to cut the hackle. So usually I try to do the hackle just a touch on the long side. So that way I can if I can cut it shorter, it's easier to cut it off than to make it longer. Bring our thread back to the eye. And now so there we go. Okay. just ignore the wet Sally Hansen's. So we'll do our first wrap here, next wrap right beside it, and I'll bring it a little more forward because I can't fit another wrap behind. That's plenty, that's fine. Pull the wings back. 1, 2, then straight up. Somewhat looking okay. See how my head's quite a bit bigger. The thing that it took me a long time to realize is a bigger head is much better than a crowded head. So now throw a quick finish. Do one more just for the fun of it. Show wings a little bit better. There is this one darn fiber right here in the back that I don't like. So grab it, pull it off, maybe. There we go. Then I'll take my fly, put it up at an angle, put a little Sally Hansen right on top. So guys, that's about it. You all ask any last minute questions. We had a blast today, or I had a blast today fishing with Matt Riley for some muskies. And the weather was beautiful. All of you see like using thread for the bodies of floss. So Gary, this is this pattern is a pattern from Charlie Craven. It's called the GTH variant. We can all imagine what GTH stands for. And on his pattern, he uses thread. So that's why I'm using thread, just because this is his pattern. But you could absolutely use floss if you wanted to change it up a little bit. And you can still see where that Sally Hansen is a little bit wet, but like I said, here in about 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes or so, it will soak in a bit more and make it durable and nice and shiny. But thank you, Joe and Nan and Bill and Ken B, Bill Brashears. You are awesome. Chris Harris, it's so good to see you hopping on today. Appreciate you both. Thanks. And Steve, yeah, I am, my back is shot right now.
I tried to say what it stood for by using like strength. Yeah, but like it wouldn't let me put it on there.
It said the go to heck variant. So this will be a fun one. You also served to me.
Mm-hmm.
This will be a fun one to tie for the Smokies, or for anywhere where you're looking for a tractor pattern that might not be quite as big as like a stimulator or something like that. You can change the colors up to whatever your heart's desire. And like I said, if you don't, or like was asked earlier, if you don't have calf tail or calf body hair, use calf tail if you want to, but feel free to use poly yarn, whatever you want. If you want to use floss for the body, use floss for the body. But if you think about it pretty simplistically, all you need is a dry fly hook, in this case a size 14, some sort of wing tailing material. If you don't have the calf, use poly yarn, thread, a little bit of dubbing, change it up wherever you want to, and hackle. So relatively simple as far as the materials are concerned. And it is kind of a prerequisite that you break your thread twice when you tie it. That will probably catch twice as many fish, because everyone knows the more you break your thread, the more the fish want to chew on it. That's truth. Al knows what to do for a living, so GTH it is. Right. Jason Hall, thank you so much. So if you're anywhere close to the Deddy's Fly Shop in New York, Kate and I are probably going to be there in May sometime. The show before that, end of April, actually May 2nd, is going to be the Gulf Shore Show. We're going to be down there working on our beach bods. And hopefully this weekend we'll be fishing somewhere or running around with kids, one of the two. So, so guys, send in your
I got it.
GTH variants
Mm-hmm.
to the email Katie put, or tag us in the picture on Instagram. If you have a request for next week, I'm thinking, big fat dry fly tractor pattern, chubby Chernobyl. I'm thinking chubbies, but if you have something else that you would like for us to title, let us know. And we'll see you next Wednesday night. Looking forward to sharing the pictures of Charlie Craven's. And it'd be cool if you tag Charlie Craven as well. That way you can share the love. We need to show off our booty from our trip to Charlie Craven's Fly Shop. Maybe next week we'll show it. Sorry guys, it's been a little bit long of a show. Sorry to keep you past your bedtime. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'm going to sign off and turn it over to Katie, and she will say goodbye. Thank you so much. It's been an awesome evening. See you guys.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.